In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up your Nova account at UMUC. This is a server that you're going to be using throughout the semester to publish your web pages. The first thing I need you to do is download an application called PuTTY. So if you go to putty.org and then click on the download link at the top of the page. And when you get to this PuTTY download page, I'm going to need you to scroll down and look for a Windows installer for everything except PuTTYtel. Go ahead and download this. And once it's downloaded, I'm going to have you go ahead and install the application. And you're going to follow the regular installation. Just hit next, install in the default location. Keep hitting next until it has finished installing. Okay, now that you've installed PuTTY, the next step is to actually connect to the Nova server. So once you have PuTTY, if you click Start and if you type PUTTY, it should show up in your list of programs. At this point, you can actually just pin it to your Start menu or your taskbar, or you can make a shortcut. I typically like to keep things on my taskbar, whatever works best for you. But you can go ahead and open PuTTY. And in order to connect, you're going to have to enter a few things. So the first thing you need to do is enter the host name for the server, which is nova.umc.edu. PuTTY gives you this little feature where you can save your sessions. They're just like shortcuts in a way. So I'm going to save this as Nova connection. And if I go ahead and hit save, so from now on I can just click on this and it will bring up my host name, so I don't have to type in nova.umc each time. So at this point I can go ahead and hit open. Now PuTTY is a command line application. You're connecting to the UMUC Nova server, so everything you do is going to involve entering commands into a terminal screen. But don't worry, you don't have to learn very many commands for this course. You just need to understand how to actually set up your Nova account and do some basic setup work, and once that's done you shouldn't have to go too much in depth with this. So to set up your account, you're going to have to enter new class the first time you get to this login prompt. And when you hit new class, you're going to be prompted to enter your My UMUC portal username. This is the same username that you have to log into Leo. In my case, I'm going to enter my login. And then you'll be asked for your password, which is the same as your Leo password. And it actually tells me that I'm not registered for any classes which require accounts on this system. That's because I have a professor account, which is different from the regular student class accounts. But in your situation, you should get information here telling you your new Nova username and password to log into the system. Please, at this stage, write this down, because this is a temporary password that it's going to give you, and you're going to need this temporary password in order to log into Nova next time. The next time you log into Nova, you're going to be asked for that password, and when you enter it, it's going to tell you that you need to change the password to something more memorable. Please make sure that you use a password that you'll remember for the duration of the semester. If at any point you ever forget your password again, or you can't log into the system, you may use the command CHGPASS, that stands for change pass. If you're a Mac user, you will not need to download PuTTY in order to access Nova. All you need to do is access the internal built SSH client in OS X, and you can do this by going to the Mac's terminal. In the terminal, you're going to issue the command SSH new class, which is going to be your username for the first session at nova.umc.edu. New class will instruct the system to set you up a brand new Nova account. It will request your My UMUC portal login. This is the same login that you have to access Leo. So once you enter the credentials, you will then be set up with a brand new Nova account. The next thing we need to do is set up some permissions in Nova so that we can actually publish web pages that are accessible to everyone via a web browser. So in this week's class, I've published an article called Unix Permissions for UMUC's Nova Server Explained. Please read that article. Please let me know if you have any questions. Permissions can get a little bit complicated, but in this class, I don't want to spend too much time on it because there are a few quick steps in order to get you set up. And beyond that, you shouldn't have to worry about permissions too much. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we need to do to get set up in Nova. So I'm going to go ahead and go into PuTTY again. and I will connect to the Nova server. I'm going to log in as my Nova user account. Yours is going to be something similar to this, but there'll be a number after it. Once in, I need you to run a series of commands. The first command I need you to do is enter chmod space 711 space period and hit enter. And what this does is this sets up our permissions for our root directory or our dot directory within the Nova server. The next thing we want to do is create a directory called www, and you do that by issuing the command makedir mkdir space www, enter. And then we also need to set the permissions for www to be 711, so we issue the command chmod 711 www, hit enter. And that's it. That's all I need you to do in order to set up your permissions. Permissions can get complicated, but if you follow these steps correctly, then you shouldn't run into any problems.